I'll recognize my friend and partner in the coastal legislation that we're going to keep pushing forward, get it across the finish line this time. And I'll recognize my fellow Floridian, Ms. Castor, for her 5 minutes of questioning.
Well, thank you, Chairman Bilirakis, and you deserve a lot of credit for helping to hammer out the Kids Online Safety Act and moving the legislation through committee last year. You know, for many years, the committee has worked on this because the online harms to kids, the exploitation is plain as day to parents and families across the country. Big tech platforms use their manipulative designs to addict kids to their products and funnel them to harmful or exploitive content. They collect massive amounts of personal information, some of it incredibly sensitive, to fuel their algorithms, always elevating their profits over kids' safety. That's why I partnered with Rep. Bilirakis and Tim Walberg, leaders in the Senate, a lot of the advocates in the audience today to help establish safeguards for kids online. COSA would provide young people and parents with the tools, safeguards, transparency needed. It's a design code. COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, bans the big tech platforms from collecting the private data. You need both working together. COPPA, remember, would ban advertising targeted to kids and teens, create an eraser button for parents and kids to eliminate that personal information online. But both rely on a strong Federal Trade Commission to enforce the law. The bills passed out of the Energy and Commerce Committee on September 18th of last year. So we pressed the Speaker to bring them up for a vote. It was passed bipartisan in the Senate, over 60 votes, probably, I think it was about 90 votes. September 18th, October, we pressed the Speaker Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise to bring it up. We pressed in November. Parents and advocates kept on it. They pressed in December and are demoralized today because the Republican Speaker and Majority Leader blocked it. Even in the face of the Surgeon General's report, the higher rates of suicides, all of the tragedies that are all too plain today, the pornography that is so exploitative online, and all of the addiction. So then the parents, I have to say, were very dejected, as many of us were at the inauguration, to see these big tech CEOs have a front row seat at President Trump's swearing in. And then what happens last week? The president takes the cops off the beat, the folks who are charged with enforcing kids' safety laws, privacy laws. It's illegal. What they've done to Commissioners Bedoya and Slaughter is illegal. The law that Congress passed years ago directed the commission to be bipartisan, independent. It's an enforcement agency to protect Americans from unfair and deceptive practices. And now they just want to throw the law out the door. And yes, we can talk about the importance of passing new legislation here in this hearing, but if you take the cops off the beat, you give the big tech CEOs a front row seat to the inauguration, you block the COSA and COPPA that was hammered out over years of work in this committee, how do you restore trust on this? And it's going to be up to this committee to stand up for parents and young people and stand up to these big tech CEOs who want to control our lives. And they're willing to sacrifice our kids' well-being for their profits. And I ask my Republican colleagues, please join us in this. Say something about taking the cops off the beat from the FTC. Commissioner Slaughter, thank you so much. You were working with your colleagues to address youth safety and privacy online. What do you recommend now going forward for this committee? And how can we restore the cops on the beat back at the FTC?
Thank you. I agree with you, excuse me, and I agree with the witnesses here that there are important laws that Congress needs to pass. I've been really concerned about whether the statutory tools the FTC has right now are up to the job, and I've advocated for privacy legislation and other tools, but the really important question is, how will those be administered? If Congress can pass the laws, how will they be administered, and will they be administered without fear or favor, which is what every American deserves, and especially what every parent sitting in this audience today deserves. I can't tell you how deeply moved I am personally by the stories that we're hearing, and how very much I want to be able to get back to work on behalf of these parents and other parents out there. We need an FTC that is fully composed to be able to do that administration of the laws without fear or favor and help protect our kids.
Thank you very much.